Todd Buckley.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I move that the question be now put.
Well,
The member might have got it if he asked for it properly. Dennis O'Rourke.
Chairman, very good choice. Mr Chairman, I wanted to make some comments on what Chris Hipkins said because I think it's very important that we clarify this a little. And the issue is this, that with regard to 17A1C3, that's the one that would allow overseas purchasers to purchase land if, and I quote, the overseas investment will or is likely to increase the supply of housing in New Zealand, as determined by the relevant minister. So I don't think that the comments made by Chris Hipkins were realistic. He particularly referred to do-ups, and I think those would be an excuse for overseas purchasers to buy valuable property on the basis they wanted to invest them and make them more valuable. I don't accept that Kiwis couldn't do that just as well and that there wouldn't be a very long list of Kiwis wanting to do this if only they could afford that property. In addition to that, I think there is a lot of merit in simplicity, and 17A1C3 and the whole of 17B are far from simple and would therefore create a wide opportunity for overseas purchasers to drive fleets of buses through this particular motion. And they would find ways through that of being able to purchase land in New Zealand without much restriction. And the reason I say that, Mr Chairman, is if you look at 17B1, you will see that the relevant ministers must determine whether the requirements set out below are fulfilled. Well, there may be some ministers who I would have faith in to do that well and to do it genuinely. But I can tell you right now, if the current minister was in that position, there is no way that I would have any confidence at all that the policy set out in this 17B would actually be followed with any genuine purpose whatsoever. So there is a huge problem with such wide ministerial discretion. The second point is this: look at 2A, 1, 2 and 3. Everywhere, in every one of those, in fact, in 4 places, the words committed to are used. What on earth does committed to actually mean? Nobody has said that. Perhaps one of the Labor people could stand up and tell us with precision what they mean in each and every one of those 4 places where the words is committed to means. Because I don't think that is clear at all, and that's why I say that with this particular proposal, a fleet of buses could be driven through it without notice, and it's therefore going to compromise the whole piece of this proposal. And that's a great shame, Mr Chairman, because New Zealand First desperately wants to stop overseas purchasers from buying New Zealand residential land. That particular proposal, and it's only the one in 17A1C3 that I read out, that is the only one that compromises this otherwise very good proposal. So I would very much encourage other members of the House to vote in favour of my SOP, which would simply delete that. Simply delete 17A1C3 and consequentially the very complex and meaningless Section 17B, and make this a piece of legislation which New Zealand First could support, because it would then be a clean and simple and effective method of stopping overseas purchasers from buying New Zealand land, stopping the speculation that they indulge in, stop the land banking, stop all the negatives that they do. This is such a let-out that that particular provision really does have to be removed. And I don't think that Chris Hipkins was at all convincing in his attempt to justify it. So I would again say that if people in this House actually do want to, in an effective way, stop overseas purchases of New Zealand residential land, then please remove that particular provision in this bill. There is no good reason for it. It would achieve nothing, and the rest of it could then be effective without being compromised in any way whatsoever.
Jamie Lee Ross.
I move that the question be now put.